And we're joined by Bryce Tippe, the candidate in Kelowna Centre for the Greens. So, why are you running?
I'm really passionate about politics and democracy. So I'm a recent graduate from the political science program at UBCO. I got into it because I felt like there was a disconnect between the people in power and the voters. And so I'm really passionate about instituting reforms that allow for a more representative, responsive, transparent, and accountable government within British Columbia.
Right. So we had a referendum years and years ago that ended up coming down to a single transferable vote for proportional representation. It failed. Would you like to see us go back to something like that? Maybe something simpler?
Well, I mean, because I don't believe in the referendum was too complicated. I mean, this was prior to me going to school, but I was a big follower of politics, and even that I was like, what does any of this mean? I had to do so much research to actually understand what these proposed electoral systems were, and I think it was intentionally complicated by the BC NDP because this was due to an agreement that they made with the BC Greens. The BC Greens wanted them to do a referendum, and so they overcomplicated it so then people didn't want to do it.
You think they deliberately made it complicated so the vote would fail?
Of course, it's politics. Cynicism.
Okay, but obviously you like what the Green Party argues in terms of, I guess, putting the environment first.
Well, I mean, I think that it's important to put, obviously, if we destroy the climate, we need to be able to live on the planet, and we need to be able to have long-term solutions. I mean, it's proposed that by the end of the century, ocean levels are going to rise about 3 feet. Billions of people live on coastlines. That's going to cause a giant refugee crisis, and it's going to cause a lot of problems within developing nations who are going to be hit the worst by it. So we got to be able to have long-term solutions to these problems, right? And I think the Green Party is the only one in this election that's actually doing that. But I also think it's important to balance these things with an economic development as well.
The Conservative Party doesn't seem to want to do much of anything to limit greenhouse gas emissions, and now we have the NDP saying they also might not want to see the carbon tax continued. So, yeah. It leaves some room for argument for you.
I mean, it is pretty confounding to me. I actually don't know what the BC NDP stand for anymore. They keep changing their policies. I've actually tried to do opposition research and read their platform on the website. Fun fact, they don't have one. They don't actually have enough platform the election to say, this is what our policies, this is what we want to do, because they keep changing stuff on the fly.
If I could say anything in their defense right now, things you almost do need to keep changing, because I mean, at one point they're campaigning against the BC United Party. Now that doesn't seem to exist anymore, and all the energy in opposition is behind the Conservatives. So things are changing fast.
I mean, but regardless of who I'm running against or what's happening within the election, my principles and values and the things that I believe are good for British Columbians aren't going to change, right? So if they're changing their policies on the fly and completely flip-flopping on really important policies that they had in their platforms previously, that seems that it's just cynical politics as it is, and they're just doing whatever they can to stay in power. And that's what people don't want anymore. They want authenticity in their politics, and I believe I can provide that.
So looking at the past track record and any polling that goes on, there's always some support for the Greens, but it doesn't look like there's a reasonable chance of actually winning, but maybe building towards a future win?
Well, I mean, honestly, I've been looking at the past, because Kelowna Centre is a new riding. It was just recently drawn out, but there has been actually a greater support in Kelowna voting for the Green Party proportionally to the rest of the province. So in one of the elections, there's actually 19% support for popular vote for the Green Party, which is a lot higher than the provincial average. So there is actually a lot of support, and I do think that there's actually a base that if we could actually organize the vote enough and actually prove that we could govern properly, and I believe that I would be able to do so with my expertise, we could win.
Right. I think some people tend to think Green Party is just all environment, But no, I mean, I've had a look at what your party has to offer, and there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think they focus on the community. They want to be able to focus building a community that can actually support one another and actually have consultation with those that are in power, and that's what I believe.
Right. So you alluded to it briefly. You're a UBCO graduate with some political science degree.
Yeah.
And currently working for a cannabis operation?
Yeah, so I'm working at a Valens Agrotech in a production facility. I'm a blue-collar worker. I'm doing a
college degree blue-collar worker.
Yeah, and I'm doing graveyards, so that's fun.
Oh.
Try running a campaign while working a graveyard job. It's fun.
Well, yeah, you knock on doors all day and work all night.
Yeah, exactly.
Sleeping's overrated.
Yeah, who needs sleep? I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Great to meet you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah.
And thanks for watching Kelowna Now.
We don't just report the news. We live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter to all of us. No government funding, no outside influence. Kelowna Now, local, independent. News you can trust.